just click the raise hand button and I'll call on you to ask any question you want to ask. So yeah, so today I'm going to be talking about Bokeh. I'm a Python developer and also a contributor to the Bokeh library. Bokeh is a data visualization library. You can read more about it in the link I'll share. However, today I'm just going to be demonstrating some of the capabilities of Bokeh, what it can do with your data visualization, and yeah, on all of that. So first of all, by way of introduction, my name is Isaiah Akorita. I'm from Nigeria, as you can see, or as you can tell. Yeah, so I've been a Python developer now for say about 2 years, so I'm not that old, but yeah, we are trying, if you can say that. So I've been working with Bokeh for the last 1 year. I think May of this year makes it 1 year. So I've been working with them since May of last year. I started with an internship with them, and then I remained with them after the internship. And I'm also working for HoloVis. HoloVis is also another data visualization library. It's part of the Anaconda family. I don't know if you're familiar with Anaconda. Anaconda is a basically a data company. They have all the tools if you want to be doing data science, all the tools for your data science journey, like your visualization, analysis, and the they are also the ones in charge of um, Jupyter. I don't know if you're familiar with Jupyter Notebook, which is what I'm going to be using for today's um, tutorial or today's session, right? So first of all, maybe I would like to share my screen. Um, Let me see. So can you see my screen? If anybody can see my screen, can just let me know you can. Yeah, so it's okay. It's a blank screen for now. So I'm just going to be introducing the aspects of Bokeh that maybe you need to do your data visualization. If you are new to Python, you can still use Bokeh. Although one of the limitations of Bokeh is that you have to have a little bit of Python knowledge. You don't have to be an expert. You just like beginner knowledge. Actually, it's enough to start using Bokeh. Before I started my internship, I didn't know anything about it actually. So it was during like within a few weeks or so, I kind of got familiar with it and then started using it. So it's not that difficult to use. However, like I said before, you have to have a bit of Python knowledge to be able to use Bokeh. And then if you still want to go maybe do more complex visualizations and usage, you might also know a bit of JavaScript or TypeScript, but that is not necessary in order to use Bokeh. However, in order to use Bokeh, you, of course, first of all, you might have to install it on your system. You can go to the websites which I shared in the link. You can actually see instructions on how to install it, but it's not difficult. In order to install it, you can go to your command line, use either P. Sorry, someone has a question. Did someone ask a question? Okay. All right. Um, you can, sorry, I'm getting notifications. Okay. Please just raise hand on this so I can see your messages. Um, Here's the link for whoever needs it. So you can either install Bokeh with pip or Conda on your command line. You can just do something like uh, maybe Conda install Bokeh, and yeah, that's it. It can for installation purposes. So if you do this on your command line, you can just have it on your system. So that's the first thing you need to do in order to use it. However, for me, I already have it installed in my system anyway, so I don't need to install it again or something. So you can do that on your own. And then another thing is, of course, you have to have some Python, basic Python knowledge and have it installed in your system. And then since Bokeh is a data visualization library, you'll be working with data. Of course, you must also have to have some knowledge of pandas. Pandas is a framework for creating data frames, for manipulating data, and all the rest. So for this tutorial, I'm going to also install some import pandas. It's already installed in my system, but um, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to import it. So import pandas as PD, and then Bokeh is it has two plotting frameworks, something called bokeh.plotting and then bokeh.models. So the plotting framework is like a higher level framework that you can use with just maybe one or two lines of code. You can actually create some interesting data visualizations. So for this particular tutorial, I'm going to mostly be demonstrating what you can do with Bokeh instead of maybe talking plenty, right? I'll have to demonstrate what you can do. However, Bokeh also works with your browser. Since this is the browser I'm using, there are two ways you can display your plots, your visualizations. You can either display it on your browser or you can display it within this Jupyter notebook I'm using. So for this particular tutorial, I'm going to be displaying it in the Jupyter notebook. However, it's your choice, however you want to do it. If you want to display it as a separate tab in your browser, you can do that. But in order to display your plots in your notebook, you have to import a function called output notebook. So I should do that here. So if you run, okay, it should see something like yeah, loading Bokeh. So if this is loaded, then you know whatever plots you create now, you can show it on your Jupyter notebook instead of on a separate tab. So for this particular tutorial, I'm going to just create some data, like maybe um, type in some random numbers and then show you what you can do with Bokeh, how simple it is. So for example, I can have maybe a list, let me say X, something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you can see maybe on the Y, I can have maybe a list of mm, let me see something. So my Y is basically um x times 2 for x in x. Basically, for every value of x, the y is times 2 of it. So if y is x is 1, y is 2, x is 2, y is 4. So for how you can make a plot with Bokeh using this simple thing, you can say, okay, using the plotting interface, you can say something like this. Then you can create a figure. And let me just call it P, right? Um, then you can do, so to create a scatter plot, you can do something like this. So as you can see, I've just created a simple scatter plot with the dots. You can see the dots. Okay, if it's too small, you can actually increase the size. Let me just say size equals to 10. You can rerun this thing. So this is a simple, I don't know if you can see my screen. Yeah, you can. Okay. So this is a simple scatter plot you can create with, this is like one of the simplest things you can create. Like I said, this is like the x-axis and this is the y-axis. So for every value of x, you have times 2 of it in the y-axis. So if x is 1, you have y is 2, x is 2. So that's just like a scatter plot. This is how you can create a simple plot using Bokeh. So first of all, what did I do here? First of all, from the Bokeh plotting API or interface, I imported the figure and then show functions. So the figure functions basically here, which is how I used it here. It helps you create like it's sort of like a blank canvas, right? And then from this blank canvas is where you can now impute whatever plots you want to create. So for this case, I created a scatter plot, and then on the x-axis, I use this x, which is 1 to 5, and then on the y, I use this value for x, and then size is the size of the circle. So you can actually change the size of the circle depending on your needs. If you change it to 20, you rerun this, you can see it's bigger. So forever, for whatever reason you want to do. But this is not all, obviously, you can do with Bokeh. For example, you can also customize these plots in different ways. For example, you can add a title. So in the figure, you can add a parameter like title and say something like this. So when you rerun the cell, you can see the title here, example figure, just something I did. You can do so many things with that. The default color here, did somebody ask it? Okay, yeah, Diana,
Yes.
you can ask a
Yeah.
question.
Good afternoon, sir. It's not a question, please. I'm not seeing your screen. I'm seeing your face, but not the screen itself. So I'm not following. It's just you talking. So if you can,
Okay.
yeah.
Does anybody else have this problem of not seeing my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yes,
good evening,
I
sir.
am seeing
I'm not seeing your.
I'm seeing your screen. I'm seeing it.
this.
I'm not
I'm
seeing.
seeing the
Oh,
screen. The person who is not seeing the
I'm
screen
seeing your
should log
face.
out
I'm
and
seeing your
log in
face.
again.
I'm seeing your screen, sir.
The person
Okay.
should log out and log in again. It does happen
I
occasionally.
Okay, then
Yeah.
I'll log off and come back.
I've done it
Okay.
twice.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
let
then.
me
Thank
let me stop sharing and share again. Maybe. Um.
I don't think it's from your end because I'm still on screen. It just goes away.
you. No.
Yeah. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, I'm
Yes,
seeing it.
yes.
Okay. So there's no problem anymore.
I'm not seeing. Let me go. Let me go out. Let me log out and log in.
Okay. Okay. So
I can
okay.
see. Yeah, it's showing now.
Okay. So it's
I
not my
can.
fault now.
No, okay.
Mhm. Okay. So Emmanuel Duru, do you have any question?
Yes, please. I tried today trying to see if I could install this Jupyter on my laptop, and I find it very difficult. I don't know if you can just explain how I could get it properly installed on my laptop so that I could follow up with the practice.
Okay. Hold on a bit. Let me just see if I send you a link that you can use for that. Um, I don't think it's difficult to do.
If you can just share a link that we can just go directly click and then
Yeah.
make it. Oh, I
So
appreciate it.
I've shared the link now in the chat.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, you can go there. So for those unfamiliar with Jupyter Notebook, Jupyter Notebook is like a IDE where it's mostly used by data scientists, right? You can use it to both write code and create explanations for your code. It has two types of cells you can use. For example, this cell I'm using is a code cell. It's written here code cell. I can also create a text cell called like a markdown cell. For example, this cell is code cell. I can go here and change it to markdown, and then whatever I type, it will appear like a just explanation, not like code, right? You can see, yeah. So if you know a bit of markdown too, you can also create like let me show you how this thing works. So this is just a bit, so you can see how you can create different types of header on markdown. You can do like, so you can see for this is not a code, this is just simple typing on markdown. So with Jupyter Notebook, for example, you can create data visualization and tell stories with your data. For example, I can create maybe a cell on top of this and write an explanation of what this whole thing does and everything like that. And then the next cell, I can also create like code and all of that. So back to Bokeh. So far in this simple cell I've created, or in this simple plot I've created, does anybody have any question so far before I continue? Any question? Okay, no question. So I can continue. So if you can see on the side of this plot, there are some buttons you can see. It usually comes by default in any plot you create. However, you can turn it off if you like. That's not a problem. However, I should explain what these buttons on the side do. So, for example, this first one is the pan button. If it's clicked, you can see that it's blue, so it's clicked. You can pan the plot. Like they said, Bokeh is an interactive visualization library. So after creating the plot, you can also interact with the plot in different ways if you like. So for example, with this pan tool, you can actually go to the left, like since it's clicked, right? It's clicked, then I can just click on the plot, then move left like this, up, down, move left and right on the plot, as you can see. That's what you can do with Bokeh. Depending on how large your plot is, you can move left or move right with it. This one is the box zoom button. For example, say you want to look at only this thing. I click on the box zoom. You can now create a box on the, sorry, it's not, yeah, create a box and you can zoom in on only maybe these two particular plot points. Maybe you want to look at only this one. You can click on it. Why is it? Sorry, somebody's calling me. Sorry about that. So you can click on the box and you can zoom on any particular plot you like. And then this is a reset button. You can click on reset. It goes back to the original of the plot. This one is also wheel zoom. When you click on it, instead of zooming on a particular disk, you can zoom in like this or zoom out, depending on what you want to do. Or maybe if you have like a data of like 1,000,000 points or 10 million points or something, and you want to zoom in a particular area to see how it looks like, you can zoom in. So like I said, you can zoom in on any particular area of the plot, just like I'm doing. And then when you're done, you can just press reset and reset. Then this is also the save button. You can save your plots, you can save it, give it any name you like. It saves in your local folder, maybe as a PNG file, like a picture file, if you wish. So I don't want to save it, so I just canceled. So these are what you can do with these buttons. You can either turn the buttons off if you like, or you can turn them on if you like. So for example, if I want to turn them off, I can say these are the toolbars inside the figure. I can say something like this: toolbar equals to none, and then sorry, taking a lot of time. Okay. Error. Okay, sorry. What's the issue? Why is it? Sorry, I'm having. Let me be sure. Wait, sorry, a bit. Let me check something. Let me be sure what the issue is. Hmm. Let's see. Sorry, let me be sure why the toolbar is showing an error right now. I'm not sure why. Let me see. Okay, sorry. Does anybody have any question why I'm trying to figure out what the issue is with this? Okay, sorry. I think it's toolbar location. All right. Okay. So you can actually remove the toolbar by actually adding this thing, a parameter called toolbar location, which is none. So if you don't need that, you can remove it from your figure. If you don't like, then if you want it, you can also add it. However, you can also specify the particular ones you want. In this case, say you want only this pan tool, for example, you can do something like sorry. Okay, sorry. Let me see. Oh, okay, maybe let's leave that one for now and just move ahead. Okay, so this one is an example of a scatter plot. However, this is not the only plot you can create with Bokeh. For example, you can also create like a line plot with this. So I can add, for example, something like this, X and then Y. However, you can see I've created like two different types of plots. And then when you run it, you can see that you can also do something like this. You can create like two plots on top of each other here in this case. So you can create a scatter plot and a line plot at the same time on a single plot using Bokeh. However, there are also other types of plots you can create with Bokeh, not just scatter plots and line plots. You can also create bar charts if you have something like a categorical data like maybe names of people, ages, and the rest of them. So I can show you an example of what I mean. So in this case, let me just create a a short list of names, for example. Mm, something like this. Okay. So in this case, I'll use the pandas, this thing I imported up here. I can use it and create a data frame, something like so I can say names. Sorry, if there's any confusion about what I'm doing, can ask.
Please, good evening. Please, I have a
Yeah,
question.
good evening. Okay.
Please, what's the meaning of DF in this?
Data frame. It's just a, what's it called? This thing I'm giving it. Sorry, what's the issue here? It's not the same length. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is 5. Sorry. Which other name I will put now? Okay. So I can call it anything. Okay, let me just make it more explicit. Please, can you, if you're not talking, can you mute your sound so that it doesn't make noise? Yeah. So this is just the data frame I just created using pandas. This is how it looks like, right? So with Bokeh, you can create like a bar chart using something like this. Maybe if you want to create a bar chart of different people and their names. So I can just demonstrate how you can do it. Maybe let me still import it again just to avoid any, in case anybody forgets. So first of all, you import the plotting libraries you can use. So import the figure and then the show, and then you can create a figure, just call it a figure object, and give it a title like age of members or something like that, right? Then for categorical data, what I mean by categorical data, in case maybe anybody is confused, is data that are arranged in categories. Is different from like numerical data, like that goes up or down, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Categorical data is something like names of people, like I just created, or names of things like people, fruits, or things like that, that are not like either higher or lower than the other. For example, Ada is neither higher or lower than Asa. It's just a name, a category of something. So it can be names, it can be scores of people in exam or things like that. Then of course age is numerical because people's age is always number. So using Bokeh, if you want to create a categorical plot, you have to specify the X range, right? So in this case, the X range is like the names I'm going to use. So you can say something like, sorry, names. What else I can say? So that's fine. Then in creating a bar plot, you can use, it's called V-bar. V-bar, which is another term for vertical bar. So your x-axis will be the names, right? And then the top, like the top of the bars, right, will be, what's it called? Age, okay? Then you can specify maybe the color of the bars you want to use. So you can specify colors in different ways, but for the purpose of this, let me just say red if I wish, right? And then I will now show the plot. Can I add any other thing if I wish? Let me see. So I think that should be fine. So you can see, okay, let me see. This thing is too big. So I can change the width of the bars, for example. So can do something like width, maybe 0.6 something. Yeah. So as you can see, you can create like a bar chart using this. So this is like a data frame of the chart. Usually, if you have like data, usually it will not be as short as this. Obviously, you might have like a column of say 100 names and people's ages or whatever. Then you can create a data frame like this if you wish. Like I said, you can change the color, change the width of the bars. You can create maybe a fatter width if you wish, something like this. And then you can also change the size of your plot, like the overall size of the plot. There are a lot you can do with Bokeh. Like basically with Bokeh, you can modify every aspect of your plot. For example, maybe I can change the height of a plot. I can say something like height maybe equals to say, sorry, 250. Yeah, you can have like a shorter plot if you wish. Let me make it 400. Let me see how it looks like. Yeah, so you can create the height, you can change the width if you wish. See, yeah. So there are a lot you can do. You can also change the color if you wish. This one I just use red. This X parameter obviously is the X axis, which has the names of the people and all of that. So yeah, any questions so far from what we've done? I've shown you how to create bar charts, scatter plots or line plots. There are many others you can also create with this, but so far, does anybody have any confusion or any question? Susan, yeah.
Can you change?
Sorry, I can't hear you. Hello? So if you're not talking, can you please mute your camera? I can't hear Susan.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Although you're echoing. Yeah, but I can hear you. You're mute, oh.
Yes, I don't know why it was echoing.
Just talk. I can hear you.
So
He
I
has
want
two
to ask,
devices
can you
on.
change
He
the
has
font
connected with two devices.
on the
That's why
x-axis, on the
he's
y-axis?
echoing.
Increase the font.
Sorry, please, if you want to speak, just raise your hand. Don't interrupt others. Susan, please ask again. I didn't hear you.
Can you increase the font on the x-axis and the y-axis?
Yes, of course. You can do that. You can modify almost every aspect of your plot, right? So before we do that, I'm going to show you one trick with Jupyter Notebook. I think it comes with Jupyter Notebook. For example, if you have a function like this p.vbar, for example, and then you want to know all the default parameters that come with it. Let's say you are just using Bokeh for the first time, and then you ask a question, can you increase the font size? Now, is there a parameter for that? I don't know. Okay, let's say I don't know, but you can do something like this. If you put the function p.vbar and then you put 2 question mark like this, if you run this particular cell, you see all the options you can do with that particular function. For example, x-axis, which is what I've put, then the top is filled. I think someone asked if top is the same as title. No, it's not. The top is the value of the x. So in this case, the value is the age. So the top figure is here. So for Ada, the figure is about 21. Is it 21 or 22? Okay, 23. So the top is the y-axis, where how high the bar will be. The height of the bars is what the top parameter does. So in this case, this is the age. The height will be, the age is 21, 23, just like that. So for you asking, can you increase the size of the x-axis? Yeah, so what you can do, you can look at the parameters here, like I did. You can see all the things you can do. You can the line width, line color, and all of that. Feel alpha, like how transparent or what your this thing can be. There are many, many things you can do. You can see the X, the width of the bars, the top, the bottom, fill color, and every other stuff. You can scroll down and see a lot of the other parameters you can use, right? Okay, legend label, we've not used that, so I'll just use that so you can see many other things you can do with that. So, okay, sorry, let me explain what legend label is. No need to explain, let me just, so in this case, I think it's their names, okay. So this legend label is just what, if you want to, somebody wants to know what label is and all of that. So, yeah, sorry, Susan, your question is, can you increase the font of the X and the Y axis, right?
Yes.
Is it there? Okay. Let me also check with this. Let me see. So you can do something like p dot x axis. How do you spell axis? Right. Let me be short first. Okay, let me give it just a thing. Okay, let me see. Sorry. Let me be sure first too. Okay. I think it's x-axis dot label. Let me be sure. Someone has a question. Let me see. Chuku Obasi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello?
Yes, yes, I
I just
can
want
hear
to know
you.
if the class is being, I just want to know if the class is being recorded.
Sorry, you
Hello?
want to know?
If the session is being recorded.
I wouldn't know. I'm not the host of the call. Yeah, it's recorded. I can see the
Yes,
call
it
is being
is.
recorded. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, yes, it's being recorded. So, okay, yeah, this thing can be increased, but I'm not so sure now. Maybe I'll have to check and see. But yeah, yeah, if I remember it, I will just show it to you, Susan. Yeah, so anybody has any other question before I move ahead? Any other question? Okay. If no other question, I can go ahead. Okay. So there are other types of plots that you can make. So maybe I'll just do a bit of more what's it called? A bit more complex data, and then show you what you can do. So in this case, I'll have to type, let me say something like fruits. So this, I'm just inventing data or use case. Banana. Okay. Let's see something like that. Right. Okay. Let's see. 2015. Okay. So with these two lists, I want to create something like a data frame to show you what's like a more complex stuff you can do. Okay, let me put it as a string, sorry. So let me create like a data with it. Does anybody have, let me see, any question? You can raise your hand so I can see your question. Somebody said my skater line plot is not showing on the same page, Michael. Okay, yeah, like I said before, initially, if you want to run the code in the same notebook, you have to top here, you have to import output notebook here and run it. Then when you see this Bokeh JS 3 points, whatever, successfully loaded, then you can do that. If you don't run this stuff on your page, whenever you create a plot, it will show like as a different tab. That way, why they make it that way? So it's easy for you to maybe share it with others and maybe any other person. You can click the link on the tab and then share it with others. But if you want it to show on the same page as your Jupyter notebook, then you have to run this output notebook. And then when you run it first, you should see this thing successfully loaded. Then you know it has worked. Have I answered your question? The guy that is doing this thing. Have I answered your question? I hope I have. So moving on.
Yeah, thank you. No, thank you.
But please
Okay.
post the link. Oh.
I should post the link to what?
On our page.
I should post the link to what?
On our page, please. So that I can
I should
download
post
some.
what?
The link for the Jupyter.
Okay, I think I've shared the link before now. It's if you scroll in the chat, you
It's
should
in
see.
the message.
Yeah. Okay, Kabiru, you can ask your question.
Thank you.
Kabiru. Somebody raised hand before. If you don't have a question, I will continue.
Yes, it is me, sir.
Okay, ask
Hello.
your question. Yes, I can hear you.
I've been trying to import the notebook, the Bokeh.
Output notebook.
Yeah.
Is this what you mean? This? You can see the screen.
Yes, that one.
Yes.
Yeah, have you typed this exactly like this?
I've done that. Input pandas as PD from bookie.oi.
IO.
Import IO. Is this in
You know what? Let me just copy it and share in the chat so it's easy. You can just copy it and paste.
Thank you.
Yeah, but one thing with Python, if you code a bit with Python, you should know that if you type something wrongly, it will not work.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sorry, please mute your mic, Jacinta.
On our page now. Okay.
Sylvia, you can ask your question.
Okay, sir.
Please, sir,
Okay.
I'm lost.
What? Where did we leave you?
From the beginning.
If, from the beginning, sorry, from the beginning. Is it this one now do we need to download it?
Which, like, what do you want to download? Is it Bokeh or Jupyter Notebook?
The bokeh.
Yeah, were you here from the beginning? Like from the beginning when I started?
I came a few minutes late. Maybe that's why I'm so lost.
Okay. Yeah, if you, of course, if you want to, Bokeh is an application, it's a library. So of course, if you want to use it, you have to install it on your system. Like I said, the first thing I said here, I said you can install Bokeh via either Conda or pip.
Yes, sir.
So on your command line, depending on whether you use
Okay.
a MacBook or Windows, you can do either this or this. You should install on your command line, and then that's it. You should install the latest version is like 3.4.1. Say, so yeah, you should install it
Okay.
before you use it. Yes. Is that all?
And okay, another one is, please will you post the this thing for us, so we'll use it to practice.
The what?
After the class, will you be able to post the video for us so that we'll use it to practice?
Well, I'm not the recorder, so obviously maybe the person recording it should be able to do that.
He is a guest. He
Yeah.
is a guest lecturer. Inevitably, like we all guests past this thing posted, it will be posted for us. That's why it's being recorded.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Bye.
So can I continue now?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Okay. So yeah, so I wanted to create a more should I say a more complex stuff with this. So so I want to create a data frame first. This thing is too long. I hope you understand what data frame is. I'll just write DF there. So for this I'll say the fruits. So let me see 20. Does anybody have any question? Does anybody have? I thought somebody was raising their hand. I'm just sorry. I'm just creating like a data. So bear with me a bit. I could have copied this somewhere anyway. I think next time I'll just copy something like that. So, right. So this is how this data frame I just created. This is how it looks like, right? So with Bokeh, you can do something like a stacked bar chart. In this case, you can see here, we just created a bar chart of people names and their age, right? So with Bokeh, you can create something like a stacked bar. For example, say I want to create a bar chart showing how many how many fruits per year, right? So you can create something like a stack bar chart. So let me show you what a stack bar chart is. Okay, let me just again, let me copy it. I don't need to copy it because I've imported it at the top, but just for the sake of this lecture, I'll repeat it again. So in the figure, I'll create a figure object. I'll give it a title, I'll call it stack bars, right? Let me give it a height of 300, then X. Since why I'm adding X range, since it's going to be a categorical plot, right? So I'm going to give it the X should be like the fruits, right? So in this case, I think it's called V bar stack. Let me be sure first. Yeah. Okay. Then on the x-axis, you have the years. Sorry. Let me do the width so it will not be too fat. What else can I add to this? Let me see source of data. So I think you can see I added legend label before, so you will not be confused about what like legend label is, right? So sorry. Let me see. Okay, I think I should differentiate the colors. Sorry, so it will be more clear. I'll call it red. Blue. What's the issue? Oh, yeah. So in this case, you can see that I've created like a stacked bar chart. Before the first color was blue, so it's hard to like differentiate what they mean. So in this case, you can see like the first one, since let's look at the data frame first. Let's know what exactly we are plotting. So you can see here, the first one, the first year, which is 2015, is 3. And then the next one, 2016, is 6. And then the next one is 2. Just like that. Now, if you can see this data, it's a bit, sorry, does anybody have a question? Someone's talking. Somebody talking. Okay, but I thought I heard something. So in this case, you can see is somebody talking? Sorry, please mute yourself if you're not talking, so it doesn't cause any interruptions. So you can see the data here. Okay, but it's a bit crude in the sense that, for example, sorry, anybody has any question?
Yes, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Please, I want to. Is it that in this bokeh?
Continue, I can hear you.
Like the chart, it has its own function. If they have their own function,
the noise is entering my ear.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you are asking if what?
In bokeh, the charts here, do they have different functions when operating it?
Yes, of course. Like by this, you mean that if you want to create a bar chart, there is different function you call. If you want to create a line chart, is that what you mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just like this.
Yes, obviously.
What did you, this one? Like this, is it categorical date chart? Just like this.
Yeah, I think I understand what you mean. For example, hello? Your line is breaking. I can't hear you very well.
I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, you're breaking. Your line is breaking.
It's network. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay.
So I'm saying like categorical chart has its own function. Then start chart also
Scatter
has
plot.
its okay plot. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Okay, you mean type of plots, right?
Yes.
Let me delete this. Yes, I understand what you mean. For example, depending on the type of data you have, you know the kind of plots you make. So for example, I cannot be the one to tell you the type of plot you create. But if you have a data that looks like this, for example, like this, this one, you know, I just created it here. It's not any real thing. So but for example, say you have this is a categorical data in the sense that it shows you information about categories like types of fruits. It could be, please mute yourself if you're not talking. It could be, yeah, it could be people names and their age. For example, you can have data like names of people, their age, their marital status, their what again, whatever. If they have children, how many children they have, things like that, right? Maybe their sex, if they are male or female, stuff like that. That is categorical data in the sense that it's categories of people and information about them. Then you can have something like numerical data. For example, like numbers like this. For example, you can have maybe year, like 2015, 10, things like that. That one is numerical data. So depending on the type of data, you know the kind of plot you make. For example, you can still make a line plot with this, right? You can if you choose to, but it will not show you the type of thing you want. For example, if you want to compare in the last 3 years with this data, which fruits have been in season more? Let's say, for example, with this bar chart, you can easily tell that banana has been the highest. But if you want to create a line chart with this, you might have a line that goes like this. It will be hard to make sense of the data. So depending on the data you want to, depending on the type of plot you want to create, Bokeh has the tools for it. For example, I can't be the one to tell you the kind of plot to create, but what I'm doing here, I'm just showing you, if you want to create a bar chart, this is the tool you need, V-bar, like vertical bar. You can also have like horizontal bars. It's different, you just write H bar there. You can also have stacked bars like this, you understand? Now, sorry, have I answered your question before I move on?
So
have I answered your question?
Yes, you have. So if you want to like solve horizontal bar, you have to state it when you are coding it, right?
Yes, of course. Of course, you have to call the horizontal bar function here.
H bar.
Right? Yes, yeah, exactly. It will be H bar. So, and you know, for horizontal bars now, this will now become the y axis will now be like x axis. So let me just show you. Yes. Let me just demonstrate what I mean. So let's say in this case now, right, you want to create horizontal bars. So let me just copy this whole thing here. Sorry. Let me just copy it and put here. So instead of let me copy this thing again. So instead of vertical bars, now you want to create horizontal bar, right? You can just say p.h bar, but now you have to be careful because your bars are going this way, right? They are going to go towards the right instead of up, right? So instead of x axis being the names, sorry, so this has to be the y range now. So instead of x axis being the names, you have to be now like the y axis. You understand? Then instead of top now, you say right. Then every other thing you can just put color equals to, maybe let me call it another color. Then now instead of width of the bars, you say height. Sorry, height. Let me see 0.7 or whatever. I hope I'm correct. Yeah, so you have something like this now. So depending on what you want to do, you have, but you have to be careful that for vertical bars is x-axis. That's where the categories are. But for horizontal bars is the y-axis, because obviously your bars are going to the right, right? So have I answered your question? You can see the difference. It's not much of a difference, but you have to be sure like what you're doing.
Okay. Please, another one.
Yeah.
This show bracket P. What is it indicating?
Okay, yeah. The show function, you see, you can see I imported it at the top here, is to show the plot, right? You can create a plot and decide not to show it. For example, let me delete it. Yeah, it will just show like glyph renderer and what. Now you have created the plot, right? It exists as a variable P, right? But it's not showing anything. So the show function is to help you to show the plot. You can decide to show it. You can decide to save it as a variable and use it. Maybe if you want to create a website, embed it in your website or whatever. But for the purpose of this tutorial, you can decide to show the plot. That's why I imported that show function. For example, instead of showing it, you can also decide to save it, right? So you also import the function like save. Then instead of showing it, you can just save it in your local storage. You can say something like save, and then I've not imported it, but if I import the save function, you can save the plot. So yeah, the show function is just to show the plot, right? So I've created the plot already, and then I can do show just to show it, and then to show what I just did. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. So if you do not,
Okay.
write type that show plot, it won't show what you did.
Yeah, it won't display. Yes. But you've already created the plot, right? But the show function is to help you display it.
Okay.
So, yes.
Thank you. All right.
Okay. So, let me move ahead. So with this now, there are still more you can do with this plot. For example, you can see that these legend labels I put here, they are kind of obstructing the plot, right? So you can see it. So you can do something like changing the location of the legend labels, right? So with Bokeh, you can do something like, this is the plot already. So P is the plot. Then you can do something like p.legend.location. Then you can say something like top left, right? Am I sure it's top left? Let me be sure. Okay, top underscore left. So when you do this thing again, you can see now the legend is now showing at the top left. So that right is the default for it. But with Bokeh, you can actually customize every aspect of your plot. You can see that the legend labels are like vertical. You can also do something like this, orientation. So you can see they are now showing like this instead of how. So depending on your specific needs, right, you can modify the plot in any different way that you like, right? What else can I do with this plot? Let me think. Okay, you can also add like hover tools. For example, you can see I'm hovering my mouse, but it's not showing any information. So you can decide to show some more information about this plot using your hover tools. So instead of typing it, let me just copy it. Okay. So you can do something like in your figure there. Where is it? Okay. So what I did here, I added tools like the hover tools, and then the two tips. This would show like the name of the fruits, and then the value. So if I rerun this cell, if I hover over any of the bars, you can see 2017, the banana is 8, 2016 is 7, 2015, you can go here and can see. So there's many different ways in which you can customize your plots with Bokeh. So of course you can create even more complex type of plots with hover tools that maybe you create line charts and all of that extends to maybe many years. As you hover over the plots and the lines, it will give you information. Of course, you can customize the information to even be more complex than this. Maybe put way more information about it. Let's say you have information about somebody, maybe in that former plot, maybe a name. Let me see. Let's say name of this thing. You can put, if you hover over the bar, you can put things like name of the person, their age, if they have number of children, whatever it is that is in your data frame, you can customize it as the tooltip. So if somebody hovers over it, they can have many information. So any question about this before I move on to like laying out your plots? Any question? Yes, Amarachi.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, sorry, I'm actually a beginner and I wanted to ask a question. Yes,
Okay.
these commands they look new and yes they are new, but how is there any medium for us to study these commands being used here?
Okay, these commands are simple Python commands actually. So, like I said at the beginning, in order for you to use Bokeh, you have to know a bit of Python. Okay, let me just explain. Although this is something maybe you should already know, but let me just explain a bit of what these commands mean. So let me go back to the simplest plot I created here. This one. So this one I've highlighted. X is a variable here. This is a list of numbers, right? In Python, creating a list is as simple as just putting square bracket like this and putting things inside, right? So yeah. So in this instance now, this is a list of numbers. This one I've highlighted is a list of numbers, and the list contains five things inside, or in coding language, 5 elements in the list. This is the first one, the second one, 3, 4, 5. You can see, right? Then X is a variable, meaning that the meaning of X is this list of 5 numbers. Then this Y too is also another variable. And then this thing I did here is called list comprehension, in the sense that I created a list from the first list. So this is X times 2 for X in X, which is a Python list comprehension. What this means is that for every value of X, Y is times 2 of it. So if X is 1 here, Y is 2. If X is 2, Y is 4. If X is 3, Y is 6. And if X is 4, Y is 8. So that's just what I did here, right? So if you want to see the value of X here, let me rerun this and show you. Sorry, the value of Y, to be sure that what I did is correct. Let me see. Let me do Y. You can see Y now. The value of Y is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, which is what I did here. X times 2 for X in X. So this is what is called a list comprehension. So I just created two lists. X, which is 1 to 5, Y, which is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So it can be anything. For example, Y can be maybe X raised to the power of 2 and all of that. But this is like basic Python knowledge. So that is why I didn't really explain what it is, right? This is also a list of names in this case. Or for more, to be more specific, this is a list of strings. This is a string. This thing is a string. Creating a string in Python is as simple as putting two, what do they call this thing? What do they call this thing? What do they call this thing? Somebody help me. Is it apostrophe or what? What do they call this thing? Question? No, it's not question mark.
Inverted commas, commas.
Yeah. However, whatever. Yeah. So that is creating a
Quotation
string.
marks.
Quotation mark. Yeah, that's the correct one. So yeah, creating a string in Python is as simple as putting either single quotation mark or double quotation mark. It's in your keyboard. So this one, these names now is a list of strings. This age is a list of numbers, or more specifically, a list of integers, right? So if you don't have maybe knowledge in Python, you might find it a bit difficult using Bokeh. However, I also have like this thing starting very soon, a 3 months lecture on basics of Python and data analysis and all of that. So maybe if you're interested, you can message me later for that. So moving on. So sorry, before I move on, any other question? Does anybody have any other question concerning where we are so far, or any confusion? None. Okay. So I'll move ahead. So next I'm going to talk about layout. Sorry, yeah. Who is that? Amarachi.
Okay, sorry, sir. Lastly, that means I need to have an idea about Python, and then using Bokeh is going to be less complicated, right?
Yes. Actually, you have to have a bit of Python knowledge to use Bokeh, because Bokeh is a Python library in the sense that all the plots you are going to create has to be Python functions. All these things I'm doing is Python code. These are simple Python
Okay.
code that you can
I'll
write.
be
Yes.
interested in joining the cohort. So I don't know how possible it's going to be since you're just visiting just today.
Maybe you can contact the host of this meeting and maybe ask for my details or something. Yeah, but
Okay,
that's like
okay,
outside the scope of this particular this thing. So yeah.
okay, no
So
problem.
Bola, any question or any comment?
No, it's not a question.
Okay.
Let me quickly put some of us in perspectives, because some of us that are actually new on this
Okay.
program. The
Okay.
gentleman is a visiting or guest lecturer. It's like we are in a church of our own, but we invited another pastor to talk to us. The difference between what this gentleman is doing and what David ordinarily does is that David is teaching us the fundamentals of Python with a view to giving us the capability to be able to do what this gentleman is doing. The beauty of this for me, as somebody who is repeating this class out of choice, is that this class, as a result of invitations such as this, is animating the potentials of basic Python skills. If you have Python skills, there are limitless things you can do in programming, from data analytics to animation to this thing. So for me, so we should just let him, we can ask him questions about what he's doing practically, but those of us who may want to commit to the class, who are invited, who just came yesterday or last week, you will sign on to direct a keys. It's just a visiting pastor of a sort of. Thank you for the opportunity to put things in perspective so that people will not be disturbing your class with questions that are not related to what you are doing. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, some people are asking questions in the chat. Please can raise your hand so that I will check. I wouldn't have checked the chat without this comment now. Somebody say, please, what about import panda as PD? Pandas is also a Python library for data manipulation. For example, the only places I used it was in order to create a data frame here. I imported it as PD. The reason I imported it as PD is just to make it short form. I can actually write pandas, but why should I write all this plenty when I can just write PD? So yeah, in what pandas does is to help you. Can you hear me? Let me see whether I'm on mute. Okay, I'm not on mute. So what pandas does is to help you to create data frames with your data. For example, look at what I did. First of all, I created a list called names, then I created age, and then with pandas I created a data frame with those two columns. So now I have two columns, a column of names and a column of age. That is what pandas helped me to do, right? Which is why I imported it somewhere at the top here, right? And now with pandas, that's a whole other stuff you can learn separately when you're learning Python. But with pandas, you can do a lot with this data frame. For example, with pandas, I can rearrange this data frame to be so that the ages will be in what's it called, ascending order, from the lowest age to the highest age, or from the highest age to the lowest age. Or I can even rearrange the names to be in alphabetical order from A to S or whatever. That is pandas, but that's like outside the scope of this lecture. But it's just a simple like data frame I created it. But with pandas, you can do a whole lot. You understand? You can group your data. You can group your data in terms of however grouping you want. Maybe in this case, you can group in terms of the age, you can group in terms of whatever parameters you want to. But that's a lot you can do with pandas. But that's, like I said, it's outside the scope of this. I just wanted to use it to create a data frame to make it simpler so that you can know what we are plotting. Yeah. So that somebody say, why are you plotting names against age? What is the relationship between that? But for example, if you have a data frame, somebody can look at it and say, okay, the age, okay, Ada's age is 23. Okay, that's why this plot looks like this. Ada has the age. Shegun age is 45. Obi is 50. You understand? So with pandas, I can do that. Usually, you might have a data in the form of Excel sheets, right, or Google Sheets, or in other data forms. With pandas, you can use that your long Excel sheet of data and create a data frame that you can now manipulate and do all the other things you can do with that. So yeah, but like I said, that one is when you're learning Python, you learn pandas with that, hopefully. Another question, can you possibly separate the legend from the bananas? That's what I did, right? Sorry, maybe the person asked this. Is this not like stuff I just did now? Who asked it? Obasi, Chuko Obasi, right? I hope I've answered it without looking at
Yes,
it.
yes. I
Okay.
asked it before you created the changes.
Okay. I didn't see it then. Mubaraka said, how is Bokeh different from Matplotlib or Seaborn? Yeah, very good question. Bokeh is similar to Matplotlib and Seaborn in the sense that they are both data visualization libraries, right? But the difference with Bokeh is, with Bokeh, you can, when they say if a library is interactive, it's in the sense that with Matplotlib, if I create a plot like this, right? I've created it. I cannot do anything to it again. I cannot modify it. I cannot change it. Matplotlib outputs plots in picture format, right? So when, for example, when you snap a picture, you can't really do much with the picture. It's like a static image. But with Bokeh, it's an interactive output that you get in the sense that you can manipulate and do a lot of things with the plot that you've already created. Like I showed you before, in this particular instance, this is a plot I've already created. Now, with this plot, I can actually still interact with it in the sense that I can move left, move right to the plot. So let's say you're a data analyst and they gave you data and you want to explore the data, you want to know what the data really is. And it has like, say, 10 million rows or 1 million rows, for example. And then you create a huge scatter plot. Let's say you want to now zoom into, let's say, this particular bar and see more details. You can actually, with Bokeh, after making the plot, you can actually like click on a particular area of the plot and zoom into it. Of course, this does not contain more details because it's really nothing. But I'm assuming your data has even more details inside. You can zoom very far into the plot and zoom out, zoom in. Like you said, you can move left, right of your plot, a plot that you've already created. It's not like a static image, right? This is one of the capabilities of Bokeh. They can reset and go. So with Bokeh, it's very good for something they call exploratory data analysis, EDA. So with Bokeh, you can do exploratory data analysis in the sense that without knowing what your data is telling you, you can use Bokeh, create a visualization of your data, and then start exploring it. You understand? You can zoom in, go left, go right, see final details of your plot. If maybe we had a real life data set of maybe a huge rows, I can probably demonstrate better. But you can see like what you can do with it. And then if you also like have more, like I said, more advanced Python skills, you can also use Bokeh as a server in the sense that you can run live Python sessions using Bokeh, right? You can create a dashboard, an interactive dashboard with Bokeh, right? Where you can have live data. Let's say, for example, during election, something like that, and then you have results coming in. Of course, you don't have all the data currently. With Bokeh, you can create an interactive dashboard. They call it streaming. You can create a streaming dashboard that you create, and then as the data comes in, the dashboard will keep automatically updating to reflect what's it called? New data that comes in. For example, you are calling election results. You only have, let's say, River State results, for example, but you already have your dashboard. You can use Bokeh as a server. Create a Bokeh server, create your dashboard. Then as INEC is calling their results, maybe they call another state, you build the data, your dashboard updates automatically. So with Bokeh, you can do all of that. Actually, for us to digress a bit, I have something I actually am running. It's a, maybe let me just show you guys what I'm doing, but it's just a personal project, sort of a personal project, right? So it can help you to understand better what you can do with Bokeh. So can you guys see my screen? I've
Yes.
changed. Yeah, you can. Yeah, so this is a dashboard I created with Panel. Panel is another data visualization library. I kind of work with them as well, but Panel runs a Bokeh server. So let me show you on the yeah, let me go back. So you can see here, back is running Bokeh server version 3.4.1. So with Bokeh, I'm using, it's a Bokeh server I'm using to run this dashboard. So it's just me, I take data of my hometown, which is Omok, right? How like lights, the power supply light. So this is so let me show you the files. Sorry, we are digressing a bit, but I'm just showing you what you can do with Python and Bokeh, right? So this is the code I've already written down. I wrote it like you can see 20. Okay, this 20 days ago was when I actually edited it a bit, but I wrote it like months ago. And then this is the code. I've already written it down. I've kept it. Then every day when I update the data, right, it's automatically updates the dashboard. So you can see this data was collected consecutively over a period of 80 days. So by tomorrow, when I update this data, this will automatically change to 81 days, right? So I've been collecting the data now for the last 80 days. This summary, average daily supply, it will keep changing and changing. Then if you scroll down, these are different type of plots I've created. You understand? So with this now, all I need to do daily is just to update the data, and then this server will just keep updating automatically. It's the panel runs on a Bokeh server. So this is also another capability of Bokeh that you can do. Of course, you have to have like a bit of more advanced knowledge of it to be able to do something like this. Okay, Bola, you can ask a question.
See, I really want to thank you for this session. Maybe I should be thanking David and Diane Tekis. The good thing about this session is that, you see, it's one thing to learn something academically, it's another thing to have, this is like a school visit for, say, science students that we've been teaching something, and now you take them from the school and you take them to, say, a factory where some of the concepts they are taught are practically used for productivity. I'm looking at what you've been doing with basic Python skills. Virtually everything you all the syntaxes you've used here, I can understand. But you see, lack of confidence and not being exposed early to these skill sets and this thing, I can't, I have not attempted them before. And I'm basically asking myself now, with all these skills, that is predicated on basic Python knowledge, what do I need Tableau or Power BI or this thing for? When ordinarily I can generate my own originally, I cannot hold it back anymore. When you just showed the data visualization board that you have created for your this thing. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. So yes, that dashboard is just, like I said, it's just a personal project. Just for my hometown, like how the power supply works and all of that. But like I said, it's something you can do with Bokeh. And sorry, okay, Obasi. Tuku Obasi, you can ask a question. You're on mute, in case you don't know.
Yeah. Sorry for taking you backward a bit. Please, would you mind to go back to the initial one you plot, the scatter diagram, please? I want to ask you a question there. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I've gone there now.
Can you scroll up a bit to the query? Keep going, please. Keep going up.
This is the beginning.
Up a bit.
This is the beginning.
No, I mean the query.
Down.
That is it. That is it. The query. Exactly. Thank you.
Okay.
The place we have y equal to, that is square bracket. Is it x equal to 2? Hello?
No, x times 2.
X times 2.
Okay, you know, yeah, this thing might maybe confusing you guys a bit, but I can just change it to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay. What I did was I didn't want to suffer myself thinking of 2 times 2 or 4 times 2. Let me not go and do 4 times 2, 7 now and become problem. So I just this is called the least comprehension. Okay.
My lens is not too clear. That is the issue.
Okay. This is x times 2. It's times the times on my keyboard. Okay. So moving on. Let me just show you one more thing you can do with Bokeh. Any other question? Kabiru? Okay.
Sir, is there a difference between this Bokeh you are using and Power BI?
Yes, Power BI is not a programming library, right? It's, of course, the people that created Power BI are programmers or something, I think. Anyway, but Power BI, you can use it if you're not like a programmer, let me put it that way, like someone that codes. But the difference between using a programming library to create your visualizations is that you can do so much more with it than things like Tableau or Power BI, in the sense that you can control even the finest details of your plots, right? You can control even the finest details for example, what I'm showing you guys now, it's should I call it the higher level Bokeh.plotting interface, which I've been showing here. You understand? There is another interface called the Bokeh.models interface. With that models, you can actually build your plot from the ground up, like each line, each distance and everything, depending on what you want to do, the grid line and everything. Like you can see, this particular figure itself, it's like a preset figure that I just imported, this figure, right? But with the Bokeh.model interface, you can actually build the figure depending on how you want. So with using code to create your visualization, you can do so much more with it. With Power BI, you cannot run a server, for example. You cannot run a streaming server. Maybe you might have to connect it to another library, another streaming service or whatever, right? Then there are so much more you can do. Like I said, this is just like the beginner level of it. But if you go deeper, you can see that there's so much more you can do with a Python library as opposed to Tableau or Power BI. Okay, who raised hand first? Okay, Mr. Bola.
To further corroborate what we just explained now, the difference between a data analyst and a data scientist is the fact that a data analyst will be able to competently use applications such as Power BI, Tableau, Excel, and all the other data analytics applications. But a data scientist who is paid far more than a data analyst is somebody who can use a programming language, say like Python or any other programming language, to do data analysis and do what is very original, like this gentleman is doing. You are not only using somebody else's vehicle to travel, you have built your own vehicle and you have designed it to speak to some of the things. That's the difference between a data analyst and a data scientist. And data scientists are usually paid far more than data analysts. Thank you.
Okay. Cyprian, you also wanted to say something.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is, in terms of comparing um, frameworks, I think is not, you can actually mix up. I think most people don't understand the purpose of these classes. You have tools. I know that people use Power BI, so this is just giving you more tools. So bringing Isaiah is just like, okay, this thing you can also use it as well. It doesn't make, I don't think it makes Power BI redundant in any way. I feel like a very proficient Power BI person can actually achieve something as well in terms of data visualization and all that. So please don't run. Take your time, you understand. So with time, you're going to understand this guy too. But that's the thing about diet tech is having to give you a very wide range of knowledge and all of that. I think you guys should just take it step by step so you can get to where you can use this proficiently, but follow through the courses outline that you already have until this is properly introduced as well. So that's just that.
Yeah. To also buttress what Cyprian just said, yeah, Power BI and Tableau is also a tool for data analysis, obviously, right? You can use it if you want to. Let me say, for most basic analysis and stuff, you can use Power BI or Tableau. It can give you what you want, right? But if you want to do, should I say, more customized analysis, right? And if you actually need even more tools to do more things, then you might have to be able to build your own stuff. So with coding basically, or with Python, is like you using your own hand to build what you want, how you want your plots to look like, and what you want to do with it. Cyprian, you still want to? Okay, he's not speaking again. So let's move on to using layouts. So to understand layouts, for example, so far I've just plotted a single plot, right? But sometimes you might need to plot maybe multiple plots, display multiple plots at once. So I'll just demonstrate how to use row and column using Bokeh. So for this, let me say X, let me create a variable. Let me call 1, 2, 3, 5. So I'm going to use list comprehension again. So let's say Y0 is also X. Okay. So then Y1, let me just call it X. I'm just thinking of this thing to use.
That's
Okay.
block.
Okay, let's say 10 minus 1, so that it will be coming down. Like you get to then Y2 so I'm going to explain what I'm writing on so that so what all this just means is I'm just creating different Y values depending on X. So the Y0 is just X, meaning that Y is the same thing as this Y0 is the same thing as X. Then Y1 is, you know what, let me just show it to avoid plenty talk. So Y0 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Y1 is 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. That is 10 minus I for I in X. That is 10 minus 1 is this, 10 minus 2, 10 minus 3, 10 minus 4, 10 minus 5. That's it. Then Y2 is 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Like absolute I minus 5. Absolute in mass now, the absolute value of any number is that number, like the positive value. So it's like absolute value of 5 is 5. Absolute value of minus 5 is 5. So that's just what I just did here to avoid any confusion. So let me delete these cells. So now I want to create a 3 different scatter plots using these values, right? So I've already imported this stuff. Okay, let me import it again here. But I've imported it before. I don't know why I'm doing it again. But just to avoid somebody asking me, where did you get that figure from? So yeah. Let me give it title. It's okay. No need. Then the first plot, you can call it okay, let me call this one P1. So for this one, say X and then Y0, right? Then I'll create a second figure now. No verse. I just copy everything. Let me make it as simple as possible. So I will just show you only what I want to show. So far now, you can see I've created 3 plots, right? Now, let's say I want to show all these plots in like one row instead of showing it different, right? So I can do something like this. I can say show. Then I've imported row, and I say I want to show them in row. Then I say P1, P2, P3, right? So you can see, okay, these plots, they are too big. Let me show the width. So you can see something like this that I've done. You can further maybe customize it to, let me see, size, custom 8. Or is there a mistake somewhere? Okay, sorry, made a mistake. Put it in the wrong place. So you can see the 3 different plots, right? I've actually okay, to differentiate it more, let me see, color. Maybe the first color I will use blue. What's the issue with this one again? I'm putting it in the wrong place. So yeah, so this is a way that you can show your plots maybe in a row. Then if you want to also show them like in a column, you can also do something like this. So yeah, maybe I should even increase this thing to yeah, so it will become a bit more different. So anybody, any question showing how to display plots in rows and columns? So all I did here is basically from Bokeh layout, I imported row and column. And then after creating the figure, like 3 figures here, the first one, P1, P2, P3, and then I display them in a column. I just change the width and the height of the plot to make sure that it doesn't become too big or something. So any question with this? Or any confusion? Okay. If there is no question, okay, if there's no question, then I'm going to move on. So there are like a lot of ways you can style your plots using Bokeh. For now, as you can see, for the colors, usually I've mostly used like the normal what's it called? Names of colors that we know, like blue, green, yellow, and all of that. But Bokeh also accepts using this RGB color code or hex color codes. So sometimes you might ask, okay, like what is, let me type it like a markdown, like for RGB and hex color codes. So example of RGB type colors is like a tuple of 3 colors, like something like, then Y hex usually looks like this, a string, like, sorry, like this, maybe with 6 letters, something like this. So for example, maybe in case you're confused about this hex and RGB colors, I'm going to show you, I think I have a link where I usually just copy RGB color codes. So what these color codes mean is this. Let's say, for example, you want to replicate a color that you saw maybe somewhere. You want to create let me find the link. Yeah, color picker. I'll share it. I'll share it with the group so you can see it. So let me open it. So let's say, for example, you have, can you see my screen? Let's say, for example, you have a visualization you want to create, but you don't know the color. For example, this color now, I don't even know the English name of the color. Let me put it that way. But I want to create this kind of color for my plot, right? So I can actually use the color codes to create the color. So for example, this particular color, this is the hex value of this color, right? So Bokeh also accepts using hex values for colors. So let's say instead of green, I want to use that color. So I can use the hex color here. Then let's say instead of yellow, right? Let me show you. I want to use this one instead of yellow. I can also copy the RGB code, right, into the plots that we'll be using. So for this one, so for this particular one, the third plot, I've used the hex code, and for this one, I've used the RGB code. And then for the first one, I just use the normal blue color that we all know. So if I rerun the plot, you can see now that this third plot now has this color why this second plot has this color, which I don't even know the name of the color, and this other one too. So with Bokeh, you can also use RGB color codes and hex color codes for your plots instead of using the normal this thing. So it can be important. Let's say you want to customize your plots in different colors and maybe you don't know the name of the color to use directly. You can go to a website like the one I just shared in the chat, right? You can see the color picker, then you select any particular color you like, and then you can use it in place of the color parameter, and you can run your code like that. So any question so far? I think we have about 10 minutes remaining or so. So any questions so far with creating plots, different type of plots, laying them out and all of that. Obviously, this is not all Bokeh can do. So this is just like the beginning introduction of a lot of the capabilities of Bokeh. But I'm sure I've given you guys an idea of how to start using it and what you can do with it. So any question, I'm open for questions and stuff. No question? Okay. So, but I hope you guys can hear me. Oh. Hope I've not been talking to myself since. Bola.
We are hearing you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you well enough.
All right. Do you have
My
a question or any comments?
My question, to be honest with you, is more about. I really want to know how. Okay, this company obviously must be a foreign company. How did you get in touch with them? How did they engage you? And to be honest with you, as somebody who had used Panda, Matplotlib, and this thing before, I see the extended possibilities that you have highlighted here, and I know that Python's library is extensive and very wide. So I see the inherent opportunities of using it, the data scientists in fact, works done by this would ordinarily appeal to potential employers. But I'm really interested how you got to be engaged by Bokeh. How did it all start?
Okay.
Especially when you are less than 2 years as a Python programming professional.
Okay. Actually, I got in touch with Bokeh via an internship. I'll send the link here, outreachy.org. So so you can click the link. So Outreachy does internship, open source internship for, they call it minority or minority representative people, basically just Black people and minority people, you know, all these Igbo people and their things. So basically Outreachy is an internship program for like new people getting into the tech community, right? So it's usually mostly full of Nigerians and Indians, or Africans and Indians. So I applied through Outreachy last year. So in Outreachy, how it works is this. Companies like Bokeh and other open source libraries, right? They apply to be mentors in that their internship program. So you as an intern, you apply to be an intern. Obviously, you are not the only one applying. So you might apply together with 20 or 30 other people or whatever. And then they might decide to pick like one or two. So for the first month of the application, they will give you guys a task or one or two tasks or whatever. So that first month is when you do the task and try to impress the mentors, basically. That's how it works. So at the end of that 1 month, they will now decide to pick whoever they want to pick, right? So that's how I got in touch with Bokeh. So I applied to their program. They had a data visualization project they wanted to do. So I applied for the internship program. So in that 1 month, we used it to do our contributions, try to impress the mentors, obviously. So at the end, I was the one picked out of about 24 people or thereabouts that applied. So I was the only person that was picked. So I did like a 3 months project with them. So after that project, I actually now decided to remain with them, like continue with their open source. Bokeh is an open source library in the sense that anybody can contribute to it if you wish, right? So yeah, so after the internship, I decided to remain with them. And then so far, my mentor there too, he also has managed to help me out in the sense that he got me in touch with these new people I'm also working with. Like I interviewed with their program manager. So when I interviewed with them, he also asked me, what projects have you done before and all of that. So I showed him the project I did with Bokeh, my internship, and he was very impressed. And he was like, this is cool, this is cool. We have a project coming up. Will you like to work on it? And I was like, sure, why not? It's remote work basically. So I work remotely, like I work from home, and it's an American company. So yeah, so that's how I got in touch with them last year through outreach internship. And when I got in touch with them, I just told myself that, dude, if you just put one leg inside there, make sure that you don't leave that place and all of that. So yeah, so I always encourage people that if you manage to put your one foot in the door, make sure that you do your best and try to take it serious and make sure that they're impressed with what you do. And one thing with working with those white people is that they don't really care about your degree. Me, I have a degree in pharmacy. I didn't do computer science in school or whatever. I learned Python on my own with books, tutorials, and all of that. They don't really care about all that. Can you do the work? Yes, you can do the work. They'll carry you. So that's just basically how I got in touch with them. And I've been working with them ever since last year. So yeah. So I've shared their GitHub profile if you want to contribute. Then outreach is also how I got like the internship. So it's a paid internship with outreach. So yeah, they will pay you for the 3 months. But I'll also say the competition is not easy because you are competing with like other people too. Some people who are like graduates of computer science from other countries and all of that. So yeah, it's not easy, but I'll still encourage anybody to also try, right? Try and yeah, you might also get in all of that. So yeah, any other? I hope I answered your question. Amarachi, yeah.
Sorry, I took interest in the internship you talked about with outreaching. Sorry, it's not in line with the Python class.
Okay.
So are they accepting applications right now?
No, outreach does this in two times a year, March and September. So I think the next one is coming up in September. So if you go to their website right now, I think you will see they will say something. There's information on this site I just shared. So if you check it, you have information about outreach. Yeah, so it's there. The first one May to August, then December to March. Yeah, but application starts December. Application starts early August. Yeah, it's on their website now. Just let me show you. So I just clicked on it. You can see outreach. So the dates, December 2024 internship, intern application accepted from early August to mid-August. So yeah, so that's when application opens. They'll post the dates later. So currently the people in May, they are still doing their stuff. They'll finish in August. And then yeah, the other people can start. So they do it 2 times a year. So yeah, that's
Okay,
how
sir.
it works. So maybe by August you can look out for the application. So yeah,
Okay.
so any other, I think I was told it's 2 hours. So yeah. So any other question? There is a lot more you can do with Bokeh and all of that, but this is not enough time. So Shegun, question?
All right, thank you very much. Quick one. I just wanted to find out. You did mention the fact that we have to actually go on GitHub, basically, to get some of these links and some of the projects that Bokeh works on. I wanted to know, is there a way we can actually find projects that we can actually work on their site? And if we do we have to actually create a GitHub account for ourselves as well?
Yes. Okay. There are 2 things here now. You understand? If you want to use Bokeh, like as a user, you don't need to go to their GitHub to do anything. You can just install it and start using it, just the way I explained, right? But if you want to be a contributor, then of course, you have to have a GitHub account. In fact, I always encourage people that maybe I'm teaching or something, whether you know what to do or not, open a GitHub account. Just open a GitHub account. That's the first. It's free to open, so they only pay money to open them. Open a GitHub account and learn how to use GitHub, right? I always say, even now that I'm working, 50% of the job I'm doing is GitHub, like most of the stuff I'm doing. So on GitHub, if you want to contribute now to Bokeh as a contributor or a developer, then yes, you must have a GitHub account. That one is must. Like, you must have a GitHub account, because it's GitHub that all their code is hosted. So in order to contribute code or whatever I want to contribute, then obviously you must have a GitHub account. And yes, so basically maybe I can show a bit of my contributions. Maybe let me boast a bit. But yeah, so in Bokeh, after my internship, I've managed to also, okay, somebody has, Shogun, yeah, continue. You have a question.
It's allowed, sir. It's allowed, sir. You should boast. It's needed.
Okay, so in this their gallery, yeah, there are different ways you can contribute to open source projects, obviously, but in this their gallery, there are some examples you can check. For example, as I scroll through, you can see different type of examples, different type of plots you can create using Bokeh, right? All these are on their documentation site. However, some of them are stuff I also added to the site. For example, this one, this density Sinner plots, pyramid, those ones is me. This one, slope graph, is me. Correlogram is me. So yeah, so those are the ones I've done. There are also ones I've contributed that has not been made so far, maybe still under review and everything. So for example, as a user of Bokeh, right, you don't even need to know everything. If you go to their site now and click on any particular example, you can see the code that is used to create this example here, right? So you can see here the image and then the code. So for example, I want to create something similar to this. I can just copy it here. You can see copy. I can copy it here, go to my Jupyter notebook. Let me show you. Go to Jupyter notebook. Let me create another listing and paste it here. And then when I run it, it might take a bit of time. Okay, what is showing? Okay, the package I need to import, this sample data, it's not here. But let me just show maybe a simpler example. Let me look for a simpler example and show you how you can actually, for example, you want to create plots like this, right? You have any particular plot you want to create. Let me see. This one is maybe a bit more impressive or something. So this is the periodic table, right? You can copy it, then go to, where is this thing? Okay. You can go here and then paste it, and I think we should. Yeah, so you can see I didn't need to code anything or whatever. All I did was, sorry, can you see my screen? I'm not sure. Yeah, you
Yes,
can.
boss, you can see it. Yes.
Okay, so all I did was this. I went to the gallery site, right? Let me show you. You can go to the gallery site, go to any particular example, topics. I went to periodic table. If you click on it, you will see the plot. Then if you go down, you see the code. So I just copy the code, copy. Then I went to this our Jupyter page that we are using, and then I pasted it here, and then I ran it, and the output is here already. So you can see, for example, without being, should I say, an expert or expert Python coder, the Bokeh website has made it so easy that you can go there. If you have any particular plot you want to create with Bokeh and you don't know how to do it, you can go to their image gallery and search for it, right? You can search for it, look at the code, copy it to your own system, and then maybe edit it a bit to suit your particular use case, right? And then that's it. So it's one of the ways I contributed to their library, in the sense that I'll think of different types of plot I can create with Bokeh, and then if it's not already available on the website, I'll create it and then contribute it to their GitHub. Obviously, the core developers or the mentors, they will also review it, and if they like it, and they'll be like, oh, this is cool, and then they'll merge it, and then it appears on their website like this. So yeah, this is different ways you can contribute to it. But as a user, you don't need to do all this. You can just come here, copy what you want to copy, and then use it for your own simple. There are like hundreds of different types of plots you can create using Bokeh. As you can see, there are many different types. There is nested bars, just like this, stacked bars, and similar to that one I created, that one, these stacked bars. Just different types of plots you can create using Bokeh. If you click on it, it shows you the code for it. You don't need to, this is not hard Python knowledge. If you look at it carefully, you see these are just variables, strings, this thing, and what they did. And then you show the plot, use grid plot and show it, and it shows this. So you can edit it in the different ways that you can do. So any question? Okay, someone said, can I drop the link in the WhatsApp page? Okay, I'm not in the WhatsApp page, so maybe somebody else can copy these links and post there. Or the host of this meeting can also maybe ask for the links again. I'll send it, and that's fine. So yeah, so for further reading, you can always go to their documentation site and check out some things. Some of the documentation too, I'm also like the one that also wrote some documentation. There's something I've learned working with most of these people. Most of them, they don't use Windows laptop. Most of them use MacBook or Linux. So for the most part, sometimes as a Windows user, you might have some difficulty, maybe if you want to contribute, difficulty setting up your system as a developer and all of that. So me, when I started with them, I was using a Windows laptop. So because of the issues I had to like contribute some documentation to the site for Windows users, like people using Windows, how you can set up your system. Those are different ways you can contribute to projects like this. So one thing I would say, this is a tip I want to give you guys. One tip I will give to this, if you contribute to open source project like this, it might not be Bokeh, it might be any other one, Python, Pandas, whatever. If there is a job opening, most of these jobs you see posted on LinkedIn or whatever that you are applying for and you're not getting, the truth is that they already have people they want to employ. If you contribute to all these projects and a project opens up that they are paying money for, they will not go and post application. It's you that they already know that is already doing something similar. They will just come and ask you. I don't want to share maybe some private chat, but these people I'm working with already. Before this project is done, they've already messaged me that there's another one coming up. If I enjoy working with them, if I want to continue working with them. Obviously, why won't I? You understand? Now the point is, before they will even interview somebody outside, they will always look within their circle or within the people that they already know and ask, do you want to work on this project? Blah blah. Except
The
maybe you don't
one we
have the time.
normally call internal recruitment.
Exactly. You understand? So, that's why I say when I got one foot in the door, I decided that I'm going to be inside here. You understand? I'm always contributing stuff, even stuff I know they're not paying me for, right? I'm always contributing stuff, and documentation, code. You go through their GitHub, you see issues they have, the ones you can solve, you solve the issues and everything. So when they have a project coming up, they are not looking outside. They'll be like, you're already doing this stuff. Do you want to do it for us? I'll be like, sure, I want to do it. And then they pay you money and then you do it. So it's also another good way of getting a job and like getting good money for all this kind of stuff. So yeah. So any question on all of that? It's already past 8 o'clock. my time is up, so I'm just anybody that has any question you can ask. So yeah, my time is up, and then thank you guys for tuning in and listening. I hope you got something out of the tutorial. Obviously, I've not gone like half of the whole thing that Bokeh is capable of, obviously, but I hope I've given you enough to go with, even if you're a beginner or if you're still finding your feet. I'm sure there is a lot you can learn from this tutorial, this 2 hours talk so far. So all right then, thank you guys.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you so much.
Actually able to implement it. But because there's no enforcement on anything,
Thank you
people
so
does what they
much,
want.
Isaiah.